Minorities are the softest of soft targets in Bangladesh. When the Pakistan army began its crackdown in erstwhile East Pakistan, they committed genocide on the minorities of erstwhile East Pakistan. Now this has continued to a point when 50 years later, the population of the minorities in Bangladesh from double digits, it's come down to single digits. The Sheikh Hasina government was secular. It cracked down on religious fundamentalists. And of late, there's been an upsurge in attacks on minorities. And minorities are just 8% of Bangladesh's population. But there's still 13 million people. And this not only includes Hindus, but also Christians and Ahmadiyas. Their lives and properties are at risk. The religious fanaticism that was kept in check by Sheikh Hasina is now seeing a renewal. There have been temples attacked in Meherpur, in Khulna division. There's fear that more such attacks in the coming days could take place once the hardliners return to power. Why is Bangladesh so unsafe for religious minorities? Will the country succumb to the pressure of religious fanatics, or will the powers to be do something about it? Joining me to discuss this today are Salahuddin Chaudhary, editor Blitz Bangladesh, Major General Ashwini Sivach, and in the studio is my colleague Aditya Raj Kaul. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. Mr. Chaudhary, I want to start by asking you this. Why are minorities always targeted in Bangladesh? Every time there is some political upheaval, there's a coup, a government changes, or as we've seen in 1971 when the Pakistan military junta cracked down, they first targeted all the minorities. They drove them across the border. Like 90% of the refugees literally in 1971 were the minorities. Why are minorities always targeted in Bangladesh?
As you have mentioned, there's a rogue culture of attacking the religious minorities in this country. We have to look back into certain backgrounds when during 2001 and 2006, PNP Jamaat was in power. There was almost that state patronization to jihadist groups such as Jamaat al-Mujahideen Bangladesh, and also notorious persecution of Ahmadis in this country. Before that, in 1996, if you look into again background, Awami League came to power by forming political alliance with Jamaat Islam. Sheikh Hasina, during her last term, she tried to appease Hafez-e-Islam, which is a pro-Caliphate madrasa-based organization. So meaning our political leaders have always tried to appease these Islamists and jihadists. And there have never been any action against anyone for such cruelties on Hindus and a religious minority. Now, what is happening now in Bangladesh, that I will try to just update you. Yesterday, a prominent musician, his house was gutted. He was forced to leave the house with his family, and his house was set on fire. Why? Rahul, musician. Why? Because he is a Hindu. There is a hunt going on by the nexus of Islamists, jihadists, and terrorists for Hindus, Christians, Ahmadis, and their Awami League. So if you know that even they killed Hindus, Hindu members of the law enforcement agencies, and hung their bodies on flyovers. Even as you may know that I have been fighting terrorism and jihad for many decades. They are openly threatening me, saying that I am a dead man walking alive. So, I mean, this government, there is no government in Bangladesh for the last 48 years, and 48 hours, I'm sorry. And now we are expecting interim government taking oath tomorrow, maybe sometime tomorrow. But as a senior journalist, I can only say that no one can stop this cruelty unless there is an international action. And that international action will take. What is happening in Bangladesh is being funded and patronized by Biden CIA and Pakistani ISI. They are on play. They want to turn Bangladesh into a jihadist launchpad. And this is, don't think that only Hindus will be persecuted. They are being persecuted now, but ultimately everyone, for including myself, that who are not supporting Islamists, who are
Right.
not supporting jihadists, who are not supporting Jamaat Islami, who are opposing Pakistani ISI, will become the target. Bangladesh is at risk.
Bangladesh is at risk, Mr. Chaudhary, and thanks for putting that into perspective. It's a very alarming situation, what you just mentioned, that there's a hunt going on for the minorities. Aditya, why should we be worried? A hunt going on for minorities raised in Parliament yesterday by Dr. Jaishankar. What can we do to save these minorities of Bangladesh?
India has to be worried at multiple levels, Sandeep. One, we have lost a strategic ally,
Yes.
a long trusted partner in the region. That is a diplomatic, I would say, brings diplomatic defeat, and also in a lot of strategic calculations globally, for India, this would be something very serious. Secondly, the issue of one, Indians who are there, firstly,
Yes.
the Indian nationals, and then secondly, the minority Hindus who have been persecuted. For days together, this has been happening. This hasn't happened after Sheikh Hasina left.
Right.
This persecution, I would say it's a pogrom. This is a massacre that is happening against the Hindu minorities. I have spoken to leaders of the Hindu community, the ISKCON, who say that at least 10 temples have been attacked. There's been arson. The temple deities and murtis have been broken completely. We've also heard that in 27 districts, Hindu business houses,
Yes.
Hindu mills, Hindu houses have been gutted and attacked. The biggest and the most shocking of all
Yes.
is the prominent international musician and singer Rahul
Yes.
Das originally, and then he changed his name to Rahul Ananda.
Right.
His house was completely gutted, and
Right.
I am told that he begged the mobsters to spare his house, but it was a rented accommodation, and then the mobsters said that no, this is an original property of the Awami League and we will destroy this. Now, he had a collection of 3,000 rare music instruments
Right.
that were completely gutted.
Right.
Money, furniture, goods completely gutted. Why was he
God.
targeted? Rahul Ananda may be a Hindu,
Yes.
but he was a staunch secular.
Right.
He was a staunch secular who believed in Bangladesh, in Bangladeshi society, and he was also not spared. So it's a wake-up call for the society of Bangladesh, but things are only going to be worse.
Right.
We will see further crackdown, further hunting of the minorities taking place, and the temples being destroyed. The real fear isn't really the BNP, the
Right.
Bangladesh Nationalist Party, even though they have been anti-India.
Of course, it's a Jamaat.
It's a Jamaat.
Yes.
It's the Jamaat's connection with the Pakistani ISI as well.
Absolutely.
I
The
saw
Jamaat and the ISI collaborated to kill minorities in 1971.
Absolutely.
The genocide.
Absolutely. And lastly, Sandeep, I'll tell you, a journalist who is close to BNP has
Yes.
just tweeted and said that I passed through the diplomatic area while I saw a 4-tier security
Yes.
outside the Indian
Right.
High Commission. I saw the gates of the Pakistani High Commission open without any
Oh.
massive security. This will tell you, this is
Right.
telling image
Yes.
of the reality of Bangladesh. And lastly, overnight, yesterday, we haven't spoken about it in Indian media in detail.
Yes.
There was a massive and daring rescue operation that happened.
Right.
Bangladesh Army and the Indian government were part of that. At least 200 of our Indian staff, diplomats and their family members were taken from the Indian High Commission compound to an army cantonment, from an army cantonment to a hotel, and
Right.
from that hotel to the airport, and in a special Air India 1128 aircraft, commercial aircraft that was sent only for this rescue.
Yes.
200 of them this morning landed in New Delhi. But there are still 20 to 30 Indian diplomats, senior diplomats, including the High Commissioner and the Deputy High Commissioner. I'm in touch with them, who are holding the fort, who will not leave, who will stay there till Indians and minorities are protected and rescued, and the Bangladesh army is in touch with them and has assured them that security would be provided.
One can only hope that they come back to safety as soon as possible. But thanks Aditya for that ground report from Bangladesh. Alarming situation indeed. And General Sivaj, I want to read out this part 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Bangladesh, which says that the state religion of the Republic is Islam, but the state shall ensure equal status and equal right in the practice of the Hindu, Buddhist, Christian and other religions. Bangladesh is a secular nation. Judging by the events of the last few days, and given the fact that the Jamaat, a party that collaborated with the Pakistani military in 1971 to unleash genocide on its people, do you fear that Bangladesh could be becoming an Islamist country very soon?
Very correct. Sandeep, no doubt about it. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, it was a part of Pakistan. It was East Pakistan when 1947, India and Pakistan got independence. The minorities were almost 23% of the total population, whereas in Pakistan it is about 22%. In Bangladesh, when it was formed in 1971, it has slight down from 23 to 14%. And now from 14%, they are merely 7%. Now, where are those minorities gone? Either they have been killed, or they have been converted, or they have run away. This is the truth, ground reality, both in Pakistan as well as in Bangladesh. In last about 15 years, the Sheikh Hasina government was basically ruling it, and you found the relation between India and Bangladesh were at the best. But they were all mainly due to Sheikh Hasina, because her secular credentials, her relationship with India, and no doubt Bangladesh has developed tremendously in these 15 years. In fact, once upon a time, their per capita income has been more than India. Their textile industry has done extremely well. But unfortunately, we have put all our eggs in one basket. And we were only, have the best of the relation with the Sheikh Hasina government. A lot of development taken place in the sense that the connectivity which was disrupted after 65 was again resumed in terms of train, in terms of railways, in terms of roads, in terms of ports. So everything was looking very good, and the way things were going, as if, the relationship between India and Bangladesh were at the best. But at the same time, they were undercurrents. And this undercurrent was basically created by Jamaat-e-Islami. Jamaat-e-Islami is a pro-Pakistan organization. While, even in 71 war, the Jamaat-e-Islami was standing along with the Pakistan army, who have murdered almost 1 crore people, and they have raped about 10 lakh women. And now this is the past of Jamaat-e-Islami. Unfortunately, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party has also joined hand with them of late in last 4 to 5 years for their own benefit. So this India out, which started from Maldives, there was undercurrents in Bangladesh also. Anti-India sentiment, India out campaign, though was a very low ebb, but there was a danger, because Jamaat-e-Islami slowly was becoming more and more powerful. The mistake which Sheikh Hasina created, that when this election which she did it, the elections were done in a manner, there were no opposition. When you don't have opposition, you don't come to know what is the ground reality. But all said and done, as on today, what is the situation? The situation is extremely bad. Now those Hindus which are there, they are now going to be butchered, in the sense they have to be really protected. If
they have to be protected, absolutely.
They are vulnerable.
They're vulnerable, as Salahuddin Chaudhary mentioned. As he mentioned, there's a hunt that's going on for against the minorities. And there are dark days ahead for them, and there is, in fact, as Mr. Chaudhary mentioned, that there needs to be international intervention to prevent this Holocaust that the minorities is possibly facing. But I'm afraid we're completely out of time. We're completely out of time, General Sivaj. But that's the story that we'll be tracking very closely. We'll come back to you for comments on this turbulence within Bangladesh as minorities are being hunted down in the streets of Bangladesh after Sheikh Hasina's departure.